Well, I hope that came across. I'm just thinking sometimes things work and some things don't work. But good morning and welcome to the Morning Poop. This is Joel Hoxley with Jay in Washington, and we're happy to be here today. Every day is a great day, and I'm especially happy that we can take this moment to sit down and just have a discussion. Now, today, it's hard to say where you're going to start. But I woke up this morning, and hopefully everything I was looking at is still here, and I'm sure it won't be. Uh, of course not. So I was on Twitter, and we all know how Twitter is. It's like, woo, I'm on Twitter, yay! Um, and I'm typing right now. I'm sorry, those that are listening. I am typing in here because would you? There's some kind of activism. Call to activism, I think it was. Yep, call to activism. So that's at call to activism. Now, I don't follow it, but I guess it was recommended to me. And it says call to activism, breaking. A right wing, okay, well, it's a we're Democrats taking action to stop playing nice and finally defend America from MAGA, Fox News, and the NRA. Follow us to crush the GOP in November. Well, as you know, I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. And I work with a Democrat. I work with David Washington. I work with Democrats and Republicans because I believe that the majority of our country is somewhere in the middle. But even though they're somewhere in the middle, they're really starting to polarize because they don't see anything getting done. So, call to activism. Here's my call to activism. First of all, MAGA is not as great a threat as you make it out to be. MAGA is the threat you create with your rhetoric. MAGA has been created for years. Donald Trump was a Democrat. He's 50% Democrat in what he does. And most MAGA have followed from the Democrat Party. Because take it from somebody who's been a Republican my entire adult life, that the MAGA came from somewhere else. Donald Trump came from somewhere else. You look at his donations, you look at who he supported, you look at who he was buying. In the past, it was Democrats. But yes, he knew because of the moral values and the strict rules and how we guide our lives, it would be simple to come into the Republican Party. We're a party that has never been beating up on each other. We've been taking the punches forever and ever and ever. And that's continues now. And now it's just name calling, both sides. So I was floored with this one today. If you found out your doctor was a Trump supporter, would you find a new doctor? Uh-oh, an error occurred, it says. Right. That's what I need. Okay, so I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to start asking these types of questions, right? Because think about it. You've just asked, if you found out your doctor was a Biden supporter, would you find a new doctor? If you found out your doctor was a Trump supporter, would you find a new doctor? If you found that your doctor was a Christian, would you find a new doctor? If you found out your doctor was a Jew, would you find a new doctor? If you found out your doctor was a Muslim, would you find a new doctor? Let's just continue. I mean, we can continue with everything else. If you found out your doctor read Dr. Seuss, would you find a new doctor? Okay, your pediatrician has been reading Dr. Seuss his entire life. That racist man has written so much that you took books off the shelf. They're not publishing anymore. So Dr. Seuss is no good. You know, when is enough enough? Look, your doctor is going to care for you. Your doctor's going to care for you. The way they vote and what they're thinking and doing is irrelevant. But what kind of comments do we get with, if you found out your doctor was a Trump supporter, would you find a new doctor? So I thought that was an interesting question. And Susan Cat Servant stands with whatever, I mean, called it, says, I have, exclamation point. Been seeing the doctor for 30 years, but I can't get past sitting on the exam table, just wrapped in a tissue, thin paper sheet, while he extolled the virtues of my pillow guy. I got dressed and I got out of there, haven't been back. Okay, Susan, I hope your new doctor is just as good as the one that's been treating you for 30 years, but that's okay. It was, it was fine. I understand. Yes, I changed doctors in the middle of the pandemic when my then physician told me the COVID-19 vaccine were too dangerous and the virus was being hyped by the left. I left the exam room and found a new doctor. Okay. You had every right to do that, but what if your doctor's right? I'm just saying, what if your doctor's right? Because you do know that the vaccine is not approved. I mean, it is now one of them, at least. I mean, I can go back and check, but it was emergency use. That means we're not quite sure, but we checked as much as we possibly can, and we think that it's safe. We think it's safe enough to do this. So I did my vaccines. I did Johnson & Johnson, and it worked fine. But now you can't do Johnson & Johnson. Why? Because it's a real vaccine. Okay, you got to go to the ones that, hey, a lot of your politicians absolutely have stock in, right? So look at the stocks and everything that your legislator has, and see how many of them have Pfizer. Because Pfizer, and I'm not pushing anything. I'm not pushing an agenda here. I'm just saying there's two sides to every story. What if your doctor's right? And what if the doctor that says you need to get all these vaccines is right? We don't know. It's science. It's science. And you know what? You can say that Republicans and MAGA don't believe in science, but science is not an absolute. So when science becomes an absolute, you call me and tell me when it became an absolute, because gravity has evolved. We know gravity is, but we now know gravity better than we did because science tries to disprove it. It's pretty hard to disprove an apple falling out of a tree. It's hard to dispute that things weigh different. Helium is a gas. Most gases aren't affected that much by gravity. But they do, the ash falls when there's an explosion. It doesn't stay up in the air, it comes down. So gravity is it's changed. Light. Hey, the speed of light. We know what the speed of light is now. Hey, did you happen to know that that light curves? No, we found that out later because we tried to disprove. So you have your hypothesis, you try to disprove it. That's how science works. Now, if I'm wrong, scientists call me up and tell me, hey, science is absolute. It was global warming when we first started. Now it's climate change because people were freezing to death in the winter times and going, holy crap, how can this be? Al Gore couldn't go to Capitol Hill and testify because they decided to put it in the winter and it snowed. So he's going to testify on global warming, but he couldn't get into Washington because it was closed because of snow. Now, I'm not making this shit up, right? These are true things, but okay, lose your doctor. How could you trust their judgment? I'd find a new doctor if they had Fox News on their TV in the waiting room. Really? If they had Fox News, you know what? If they had MSNBC, do you think I should leave the doctor's room? Because I'll tell you, that's just total opposite of what's being said on. Listen, you can watch both stations, and if you have it in the waiting room, you don't want it, you could certainly ask to change the station. And I think they would have no problem doing it. But this one says, duh. LOL. When you dial 911, when your child or loved one is in distress, will you ask the same question? That's from Matt at zombie_shooter. You know what, Matt? I like you. You make a decent point, but there's a whole lot more to it. They have a legitimate concern. So see, they probably would ask the medic who's trying to save the life of their loved one, hey, who'd you vote for? Because that's what they say in this thing. This is what they say. No, they're not going to. You know they're not, and you're being sarcastic, and that's okay. But you're pointing at, you made a good point. That's kind of like where I come from. Really? You dial 911, you want emergency help. It doesn't matter who they voted for. They may support Donald Trump and never have voted for him. Because the majority of people that got arrested for January 6th, if you look at their voting record, didn't even vote. But they rallied for Donald Trump. They didn't vote. And those votes could have helped. Please. Both sides. Hypocrites. I mean, when are we going to start getting back to the issues? And that's what we try to do here at JNW. At JNW, we talk about these things. This is ridiculous. Even David would find this is extreme. So there's extreme on both sides. Yes, because Trump supporters don't seem to put much stock in real science. Okay, well, we just talked about real science, right? And I've seen the Democrats try to destroy, science is everything. Science is the know-all. So miracles don't happen. No, prayer is not worth it. Basically, you're just anti-religion. Come on. Science and religion can work together. It's been proven. Those that are in the Christian faith that get angry or upset because of the Muslims, and that's another fight too. Religion creates fights, but now politics creates fights. If we actually talked about these things, they wouldn't cause fights. If we discussed these things, they wouldn't cause fights. We'd be able to find out. Your upbringing is what created you. to be who you are. And over that time, you may have started with one belief and then all of a sudden found a different one. Like Ronald Reagan. He was a Democrat, but he truly transformed into the Republican Party. He truly saw what was going on because he became politically involved. So he became politically involved with the Actors Guild and then moved on. But he left the party and became a Republican, or the party left him, whichever happened. And Democrats, I know you hate Ronald Reagan. It's fine. I've heard those rumors, and I've heard those, oh no, those are fabricated lies. No, you guys don't fabricate lies. You don't lie about Ronald Reagan's record, right? You don't lie about, Lincoln. I mean, because you do know that Lincoln was a Republican, and his mighty vice president, when he died, was a Democrat, right?
He is.
So let's look at history and talk about that for a moment, because you guys honestly would make us believe that we've totally jumped off a cliff. I'm starting to think this is... Now, come on, I got to get back to this. Not unless they prescribed ivermectin. Okay, you guys know that. I'm out of there on that one. I don't get that person. Okay, Michelle, I don't get it. I'm going to look up that word, though. Or David's here. Maybe David could look it up. The word is IVERMEC.
Oh, Evermectin?
Oh, Evermectin. Okay, never mind. God. See, I'm just like not here today. I'm trying to read this. Just found that out.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that when you get COVID vaccines, your body fights off COVID, but becomes too weak to fight off other illnesses.
What?
He said I shouldn't get the next booster because not enough research. I'm finding a new doctor. I love the vaccine. I love the vaccine conversation because this is like the funniest one. So this doctor is saying there's not enough research. I don't recommend you get the next boost. Okay, that's one opinion, and you can have several opinions. But he's right when he says there's not been enough research. There hasn't been enough research. Because it was funny that all these people that had prevented themselves from getting COVID and done all the right things, as soon as they had their boosters and everything else, guess what was happening? Biden has COVID. Oh, Kamala has COVID. Val has COVID. Hey, I think they've all followed the steps that they were supposed to. And then all of a sudden the story is, it doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. It just makes the symptoms less harmful or reduces the symptoms. Okay, when you put out the vaccine, that's not what you said. And look, Donald Trump got you the vaccine in rapid time. So no matter what you say is a pro and a con to every single thing. Whatever. And I'm not, you think, oh, well, I'm standing on the fence. No, I'm not on the fence. I took my vaccines. The vaccine, not this other stuff. Like I watched my wife and my daughter go through hell, painful, miserable after these shots. Me, I got the Johnson & Johnson. My doctor said, now you make sure you move that arm and that muscle, okay? Because if you don't, your arm's going to hurt really bad. You're going to be in a lot of pain. So I just kept moving my arm all day. I didn't have any weird symptoms later. So, and I'm not saying the other vaccines are bad. I'm just saying it was difficult to watch my family with the other, one with Moderna and one with Pfizer. How does the topic come up? This is the question. Do people really care about politics so much they ask their doctor would they vote for? I've never once thought about asking my doctor who he voted for, and he definitely hasn't asked me who I voted for. I just find it weird people talk about this stuff. Most of the time, it's the patient that kind of brings it up. I don't think a doctor has really any question like, hey, who'd you vote for? And by the way, I'm trying to figure out, exactly what that pain is in your ass. Oh, that's your political party. It's just, if you're a hypochondriac, you still have a disease, right? Let's debate that one. No, how does it come up? I mean, if your doctor really wants to talk politics, there's got to be a reason. Are you talking politics all the time? No, it's good to debate, though. I consider it highly risky to stay with such a doctor. So, yes, I'd find a new one. Okay, Liam, Blue Crew, McBain. I guess it says Persian, something like that. They got these long things. Can't read the whole thing. But he's I consider it highly risky to stay with such a doctor. What's the risk? Do you think he is Donald Trump? And how much support? Because there are people that support Donald Trump that don't believe everything he says. There are some people that still are conservative, still have conservative values. Okay, that's enough. I mean, should I just continue? Because this whole thing is ridiculous. My dentist is a huge supporter. Now, I love this one. I love this one because think about it. We want to make sure that we're in no way able to. Now, hold on. My dentist is a huge supporter. I have not seen him in 5 years. I switched to a new doctor the moment I saw them posting on Facebook. It's fine to be a Republican. I'm fine doing business with people who don't share my beliefs, opinions. But Trump and what he's trying to do is another level. Okay. So you follow your dentist on Facebook? I gotta keep my I have to think about this one. My dentist, my doctor, I'm gonna follow them all. Now, I'm sure it was the dentist themselves, not the dentist's office, right? If you were following the dentist's office, I'm sure there's a whole different business perspective. God, that was funny. Oh, there's one that is going to be in the dentist chair with their mouth wide open, couldn't say anything, and the doctor just starts spewing politics out, thinking that they agreed with them. And then when they got up, they ran out the room. They never come back. I found out my vet. Okay. I found out my vet was a supporter, doubted the election process. Now have a new vet. Okay. But then listen, this is funny. This is funny because somebody goes on. Oh, Well, Hillary has doubted tons of elections. Poor dog, with a parent making decisions on politics. You don't deserve an animal. Okay, come on. I can disagree with that person too. Like, come on. Everybody deserves a dog. The dog's still going to a vet. It's not the same vet. Come on. Extreme, both sides. You don't want to hear that stuff? Then it's fine. She gets a new vet. I don't know why the vet would be talking about the election. The election was stolen. It was stolen. It's been stolen for years. Because most people don't agree with the Electoral College. Because they want democracy. They want 100% democracy. The president should be chosen by the people. Well, this individual doesn't even believe the senators should be chosen by the people, but the Constitution was amended, and that is the case. And I go with the Constitution. The people wanted to change. So let's change the Constitution if these are the ways you feel. Don't try to subvert the constitutional election process by force feeding this backdoor, hey, we're going to combine ourselves and come up with this new math. Because that's why we have a Senate and a House of Representatives. The Senate is for equal. Every state gets an equal voice at the table. In the House of Representatives, you're represented by the numbers. That's why we do a census. And that's kind of why I say, hey, the reason you don't care about local politics out there, most of you, is because you don't care about the fact is you would care more because you would want to make sure that you had the Senate and the House in your state representing you the way you want to be represented because they have the power to send a senator up to the Congress. That means, oh my goodness, they could send Donald Trump. So I'm telling you, so much better. And you say, oh my God, where's he coming from? It's better because then you're more involved in politics. You really want to know who you're sending up to Tallahassee or to Albany or to Boston or to Sacramento. Yeah, that's why I think that's a poor change, but that's me. That's just me. My doctor is probably a conservative. Yeah, my doctor is probably a conservative, but in a red state, a red town. I don't have a lot of options unless I want to drive further. As long as he leaves his politics out, I'll stay with him. He is a good doc, knows my health concerns and how to treat them. That's all I need. She doesn't even know. But she's telling you it doesn't matter. I like you at Benny 1028. I do. I think you. I bet you don't watch Fox either. But it might be on in the waiting room. Oh my goodness. How do you ramp this stuff up? Yes, I fired my dentist. I was sitting in the chair, masked, and he came in and said, that doesn't do you any good. I got up and I said, neither do you, and left. I love my new dentist. Well, you must not have liked your old dentist anyways, because it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm done with that. Where am I at? Oh, we've had a whole show. I had a whole show just talking about this. Please put your comments in there, follow us, like us, do whatever you need to, but be informed. I like a good back and forth. So if I was wrong on anything, or you think that you should correct me, I have no problem with that, because dialogue creates everything. It creates camaraderie. I mean, it doesn't just divide, because you can figure out where you are if you just take a moment to talk about politics, religion, money, and sex. Because you know what? Once you start talking about those things and you start coming to an understanding, it's a whole different ball game. Thank you very much. And that was the morning poop. And I think that was pretty damn interesting.